Okay, it is Wednesday. I am back. King's Legacy is back on Wednesdays. I know I've been MIA for the past couple of weeks for various reasons, and I apologize, but I have a lot on my plate. So, those of you that are new to the channel, you should be, you may not be aware that Wednesdays are the financial literacy platform, is the financial literacy platform because I just started the Saturday Live for King's Legacy After Hours, which is upfront, straight to the point conversation, topics for you to have family discussion. So I'm back to the financial literacy side. And this will not be a long video this evening because I have to go cook dinner. All right, so the past couple of episodes, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was introducing how to become a long-term investor, how to get started if you are new to investing, because investing is another form of savings, except this savings you generate compound interest. So I'm going to step back a little this week to recap on the principles to get started with long-term investing. And again, I emphasize long-term because I don't plan on teaching short-term investing anytime soon, because that's not what I do. Again, this platform is to share my life experiences and things that I'm doing to better my financial and family financial security. And what I have been doing since the beginning of this year is long-term investing. I did my own research and started following some reputable YouTube mentors. So I gained a lot of information and I got over my fear to start investing in stocks. And once again, I'm upset that I didn't get started sooner. So, let's get started with this. This is video 27 for the financial literacy platform. And I thank you all for showing up again to learn a road better planned is easier traveled. So thank you for returning to the learning process and information that is vital and relevant to your financial journey. As usual, before I get started, short-term disclaimer. The information shared is based on my own opinions, experiences, practices, and insight into strategies suitable to my life and financial wellness for my family. King's Legacy Group is, and myself, of course, are not financial advisors, and the videos are for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. You must do your own due diligence and seek professional advice when you feel the need to confirm or expand your understanding of knowledge on any topics covered on this platform. Always remember to make smart decisions that suit your own needs and do your own research. Research and analysis. Analysis is key because you have to know where you stand to determine what you're able to do to start any process. So please keep that in mind. Since I started the Saturday After Hours, that's when I started implementing the Facebook Live. So this is the first time I am using Facebook Live along with YouTube Live for the financial literacy platform. It was my test run on Saturdays to see how it would come out and whether it would record the whole thing. So, moving on, becoming a first-time investor. Well, it starts with you investing in yourself. It's about paying yourself first when it comes to setting the course in financial security. And it's understanding that buying stocks within the market can't be achieved if you don't have the discipline already in place with your personal savings. If you have had the opportunity to look at previous videos, again, this is number 27, so you got 1 through 26. And I'm talking about different things when it comes to financial literacy to build generational wealth that is truly attainable. You just have to follow the process. You can't skip A to C and then go all the way to G and then skip the Z. It's A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. It's an order for everything. So the information that I share is the common sense road for you to get to where you need to be, whether that's personally, your personal finances, or your professional finances. Because there are videos of starting a business and everything you need to do step by step. So yeah, this is a informational pool of information. This is an informational pool of everything pertaining to financial growth. So if you can think it is on here, or it will be on here. All righty, revisiting the principles. You have to choose. You have to choose to change your bad money habits, your behaviors that you were used to, your behaviors that cause you to continuously struggle financially, your bad behaviors that you use as excuses to do what needs to be done to change your outcome. Remember, I said before, the outcome will not change if you keep doing the same thing. That's just life. So yeah. So once you make that choice to make those changes, you have to implement what you are learning to achieve financial stability, financial wellness, financial growth that will get you to where you want to be as far as family legacy, if you have a family. If you don't have a family, you still have a legacy to achieve for your own personal life. And that would be a great retirement, not a retirement dictated by your 401k, or you expecting Social Security, or you expecting the money that you saved in your banking account. No, it's a whole lot more for you to have a great retirement. So even if you don't have living family or you don't have kids, you still have a journey to reach the financial wellness that you want and that you do deserve. So yeah, once you take all the information that you have learned and you are set on commitment to follow the disciplines needed to execute your financial journey, you good to go. At one point, I had money that I thought was sufficient. I thought I was doing the right things, but then situations, in life happen. So I pretty much had to start over. And once I decided to stop being tired or sick and tired of the struggling, of not reaching the goals that I want. But I can want all these goals all day long, but if I don't put forth a plan to get to those goals, yeah, I'm doomed to repeat the same cycle. So once I made the choice, stop stressing myself out, stop putting myself in a position that interferes with whatever plans I had in place. Once I made the choice to get off my booty, stop complaining, stop making excuses, yeah, I haven't looked back since. And I feel very confident that the future that I am striving for, I will achieve for myself and for my family. So yeah, it's you have to make the same choice. You can look at these videos all day long, whether it be mine or somebody else's. If you just keep watching and you're not doing anything by taking the information that's being shared with you, what's the point of you watching? Y'all know I shoot straight for the hip, so I'm gonna say it like it is. If you want change in your life, then get off your ass and get it done. That's just point blank. Get it done. All righty. Before you begin buying stocks, you have to ask yourself some questions. Do you have your personal finances in order? If you don't, how are you going to jump into buying stock? If you're not disciplined with your personal finances and you want to elevate to the next level because you like what you're hearing, but you're not willing to really put in the work. And part of that work is commitment and discipline. So how can you jump to buying stock when you haven't got your personal stuff together? Your discipline starts with that. And if it's not, you're not ready to start buying stocks. Because first of all, if you don't have the commitment and discipline on your personal finances already, when you get into buying stocks, you're not going to do the full research that's needed. You're not going to do the analysis that's needed of your personal situation for you to make those decisions in the stocks that you buy. How you deal with dollar cost averaging, which if you don't know, I'll explain that later, but it was discussed in previous videos. But you have to ask yourself questions. Are you really ready? And if your personal finances are not in order, you are not ready. Okay? Do you know what you are working with? Again, that goes back to evaluating your debt, your income, how much can you put towards saving, investing, and dealing with your overall financial portfolio. Have you created a budget? If you haven't created a budget, how are you going to do the steps to start buying stock? If you don't set the plan in place by using the information and the tools that are shared, you're going to cause your own failure because you didn't start where you need to start with the foundation of budgeting, foundation of savings, foundation of discipline and commitment, foundation of generating the income or additional income that you need for the goals you say you have in place. Have you decided on the percentage, again, you can save, invest, and how much you need to cover your debt? Have you set up the accounts to allocate your financial objectives? On previous videos, I talked about you need to control where your money goes. Your money should not be controlling you. That's how you don't know when you you don't understand why you got insufficient funds in your checking account, why you forgot to pay a bill, why you can't save, because you don't have your stuff in order and you're not directing where your money should go. And you're going to need several accounts. Again, this is all about paying yourself first. Part of the foundation that you need to get started in buying stocks, becoming a long-term investor. You need to choose how much you can put towards savings. Because again, savings is a form of investing. Whether you start your savings in a traditional bank account, and I've already talked about that as well. Do I like traditional banks? No, I do not. But for right now, we need them. But I'm going through the process of getting to the point where I won't need a traditional bank. And that's something that you need to think about. I've already talked about all this stuff before, so I'm not going to jump all into that again. But you do need a savings account. more than one or two or three. And whether that be with a traditional bank, that's up to you. My preference is a credit union, but because I already had existing traditional bank accounts before I started this journey this year, of course, I wasn't just going to close those accounts and just start over fresh. That didn't make any sense, especially having personal and business accounts at the traditional bank. But I have other accounts, savings accounts at other banks. And that works out perfect for me because it's out of sight, out of mind. So the money that I'm saving in these other accounts, and two of them are two different credit unions. And that's pretty much where my money's going to end up in the end anyway, all of it personal and business. But for right now, I'm still hanging on to Wells Fargo until I can say bye-bye. So it is what it is for now. Utilize what you have. So a savings, if you don't trust the banking, the traditional banks, and if you have issues with credit unions, don't know why you would, but if you do, I don't care how you save your money. Find ways to save your money. You can do the at-home money challenges to save your money, because in a regular savings account with a bank, you're not really generating no interest on it. So it's really no different than you just saving the money at home. Just make sure it's in a fireproof safe. You need multiple allocation of savings. And I'll give you some examples. Let me turn my volume off on my phone before I get some calls. Okay. I hope y'all can still hear me. I just did my ringtone only. So I hope y'all still hear me. Who's this? Erica LaShawn, can you still hear me on Facebook since I turned my volume down? If you can, please send me a yes. If you can send me a yes, I would appreciate it. If you can still hear me on Facebook. Okay, let me turn it back up. Okay. Your number one savings account, the first one, the main one that you start with, that's your first emergency fund. And if you look back on some other videos, I talked about the different emergency funds that you have. Or I heard something, a word that's better to use instead of emergency fund is, I heard it on Wealth Nation, and what is that? Opportunity fund. Yeah. So it changes your mindset as opposed to think about a unexpected emergency, which has a negative tone to it. So choose the word that's best for you: emergency fund or opportunity fund. Either one is fine with me. So remember, your first emergency fund should be your savings to cover your living expenses in the event of an emergency, whether that be loss of employment or in between employment, which is best suited for your 3-month savings, which is your first goal that you should be reaching. And remember to get the numbers that's needed to know how much you need to save per month to reach these goals. You take all of your bills, you multiply by 12. That gives you your total for the year that you need to accomplish. And then you, of course, are going to break down what you need to save per month to reach that annual goal, or that 3-month goal, that 6-month goal, the annual goal, or the 2-year goal. That's your emergency fund that you should not be touching. That emergency fund, your initial emergency fund, should be your backup to your backup, which is a last resort, break the glass situation. Um, so that's how you should be looking at that first emergency fund. You work with what you have to achieve that first goal. That first goal is 3 months. Once you have reached that goal of 3 months, you go to your next goal, 6 months of savings. Once you have reached that 6 month of savings, you need to strive for the 1 year goal. And once you reach that 1 year goal, you don't stop. Perfect example, the pandemic. What we've been going through this pandemic for 2.5 years now. Yeah, 2.5 years, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in March next year. So let's say this happens again, because since some of y'all don't want to wear a mask, be inconvenienced by wearing a mask being safer than sorry. I'm not going to get on that, but please, people, use common sense, because I'm not trying to go through another pandemic, especially this long period of time. Luckily, with the business that I have, I was able to survive and sustain. So it didn't hit me that hard. Honestly, hate that any of, any family members or you all that were affected by loss of life. Sorry to hear that. But I'm being honest with my situation with this pandemic. It was actually a blessing because I was able to sit down, rethink, and re-strategize what I wanted to do. So this pandemic for me was actually a blessing. And it gave me some time to really put focus on financial goals, career goals. So yeah, and I know a few people that it was more of a blessing than a hindrance. So after you reach your year goal, again, you don't stop there. You keep making goals. Now you can decide on whether you just want a 1 year final goal or a 2 year final goal. Me, I'm using a 2 year final goal, of which once I reach the 2 years, anything that I make over the 2 years for this first emergency fund account, because I'm not just going to stop just because I hit 2 years. Anything over that, I'm going to allocate in different ways and use that money to generate additional cash flow. And that would be more investments. So, yeah. So you don't just stop once you hit the goal. Rethink on what you want to use for the additional money over your goal, what you're going to do with that. Now, as I mentioned before, you're going to have more than one emergency fund. Not going to break that down again because I've already talked about that in previous videos. But based on your budget, your financial goals, and what you're able to achieve with the income you have coming in, whether it be your regular 9 to 5, your hustle on the side, your profits from investments, whatever the case may be, you're going to be thinking about other ways you need to allocate savings and where you put that money for savings. So you can go back and look at that later. But again, I reiterate, the best process for me, those additional savings accounts, they're in other accounts that I don't access. But I will say one thing. Let's say one of my savings account at one of the credit unions, I use that to cover the premium on actually three policies. An additional life insurance policy I have for myself, which is a small amount, that's the one that my family can use to cover funeral expenses. But the other accounts, other life insurance accounts, the whole life insurance accounts, um, they can use that money for other things or to cover any of my debt that they have to resolve when I pass. And then what's left over is what's theirs. Hopefully, they follow the plan of what they have left that I leave them in the will. So hopefully that's the case. But anyway, that savings account, I utilize that to cover the premium on that low balance policy of my life insurance, a accidental life insurance that covers my entire family, and recently I added life insurance on Kayla's dad. No, we are not together. But I was like, look, you need to make sure you're available on this day for me to call you so we can set this up. It comes out of my account until he gets the policy in the mail at his home. He owns it, even though I was on the phone when he set it up with the company that I wanted him to set it up with. I gave them my bank account information for automatic withdrawal. Although I said it then, this would be my account, me and my daughter's account. He will have no access to it, no control. So when he gets the policy in the mail, of course, he's going to call and let me know that he got it so that we can call the insurance company to have ownership transferred to me. He has nothing to do with the policy. He can't get any cash value out of the policy, nothing of that sort. That's for me and Kayla to utilize and for it to be there in the event of his passing. And those of you that are baby mamas and baby daddies, y'all need to get y'all mess together and communicate. It ain't about y'all. It's about the child. So if you have a non-custodial parent, you need to get life insurance on them. And you non-custodial parent, you need to be accepting and do what you're supposed to do for your child. It ain't about what she gonna get if you don't like her. It ain't got nothing to do with that. So yeah, y'all need to have a conversation about that. I don't care if y'all hate each other. Leave your child what they need to survive. You had them. It's your responsibility. Handle your business. Y'all ain't got to deal with each other. Number on that phone call when you set up the policy. And when he get, or whoever is non-custodial, when you get the policy, switch it over to whoever paying for it. Stop making excuses. Stop being your own problem. Get it done when it comes to leaving money for your child or children. Especially if you are a non-custodial parent who ain't taking care of your child while you alive. Yeah. But luckily I didn't have that issue with Kayla's dad. He was all gung-ho about it. Didn't give me no backlash about it, no issues, because he understands I'm going to take care to make sure that our daughter has what she needs of either one of us passing before, we want to. So, yeah. But also what I want to say about having the accounts, your additional accounts at different banks or credit unions. If you don't see it every day, you're less likely to touch it. A lot of times I forget that I have these other accounts because because of the pandemic, even though they didn't, don't give ATM debit cards for savings accounts, but during the pandemic, they did that because they didn't have access for you to come to the bank. So when those cards came, I put them up. They're in a safe. I don't need to use them. But when I set up these automatic withdrawals for the insurance policies, I don't think I had to do was provide the routing number and the account number. I don't need that card physically in my wallet, in my hand. Set it up for automatic withdrawal and forget about it. And then I still have the other savings that's going into the account every month because I have that set up for automatic withdrawal from my main checking account at Wells Fargo. Allocation from that account goes to 6 different accounts. So yeah, make a plan, people. Stick to it, and I promise you, your life situation will change. I promise you that your anxiety and your stress of worrying paycheck to paycheck or debt to debt, whatever the case may be, I promise you that will change if you just set the plan in place and follow it. Paying yourself first. That also goes with investing in the stock market with a reputable brokerage firm. Also, opening up a Roth IRA. Kayla and I both have a Roth IRA. Now, even though I buy stock on Robinhood, I was using Webull, but I got rid of Webull. That was just so darn confusing. They got too much going on that app, but that's just me. So my my Robinhood account, I didn't want to put all of my investments into that brokerage firm. So for the Roth IRA accounts for me and Kayla, I put on Vanguard. Some of you all may be familiar with Fidelity or Charles Schwab or what is that, TD Ameritrade. Nothing is wrong with those. So I'm not saying that. I just chose Vanguard because probably about 2 or 3 people that I had in my car. And the thing is, of course, as a driver, I'm listening to their conversations on the phone. So these were executives, these were business owners, with $1 million companies. So when they got off their call, I asked them a few questions. So one of the questions that I asked 3 other people, and even hearing them talk about stocks, I was like, which brokerage firm would you suggest? He said, of all the ones, my choice should be Vanguard or Fidelity. Reason being, their rates are lower and their reputation stands above the others. So even though I had already started my own research, and I was leaning towards Vanguard and Fidelity. So that was just confirmation for me. So I chose Vanguard for me and Kayla's Roth IRA account. The only thing I don't like about the Vanguard account is I can't set up automatic deposits to go directly to the stocks like on Robinhood. I can set up automatic withdrawal from my debit account to go to my Vanguard account, but I still have to go into Vanguard once that money hits and assign it, which is buying more of the stock that I have on there. I have to actually go through the process of going to that stock, buying the amount that I want, then going to the next stock and buying the amount that I want. So that's the only aggravation with that, because I like to set it up and I ain't got to worry about it again. But with the Vanguard, I got to worry about it to make sure I don't forget to go in and put the money that they took out of my debit account to the Vanguard account and actually place it on the stocks that I want. That's the only aggravation. Yeah. Also, you need to open up a custodial account for your children. Like I just mentioned, Kayla has her own Roth IRA account as well. It's a custodial account and she owns it. Even though I set it up and I put money into it, it is hers. Okay. And it will be there. And this is a starting process for her retirement plan. So, yeah. And it doesn't take that much money, people. It really doesn't. We got to stop making excuses saying, I don't have any extra money to do. Yes, you do. Because you find extra money to do a whole lot of stuff that you don't need to be spending money on because it brings no value to your life. I don't care if it's buying food every day when you at work. Choose to make your meal, take it to work, and the money that you saving. Because if you buy food, if you're on the low end and you spend $10 a day on your lunch, going out buying food at work, that's $50 a week. So how you don't have the money to do what you need to do? You could take 20 of that 50, buy you food, make it for the week, cook it, and make your meals that will cover you for the week. Instead of buying the $2 drinks out the vending machine at the job, it'd be cheaper for you to go buy a 6-pack of your juice or your soda. Even cheaper to buy a pack of water. You saving money. So take that 30 and put it into the stock market. Stop making excuses, people. Another thing that I have recently brought up on some of the videos, whole life insurance, and I'm not talking about traditional, because not all life insurance is a PUA, which is a paid up addition mutual fund dividend. That's the type of account that you want so that you can pay up the addition on your policy to activate your cash value sooner than later and have more cash value than a traditional whole life insurance policy. I'm sure this is not y'all first time hearing about this. Those of you that are still skeptical, want to be the naysayer, want to be the disbeliever, you wasting energy and time on creating your own banking system. It is not a fraud. It is not a scam. If you all follow Dave Ramsey, just because he's the complexion that he is and been doing this for a long time doesn't mean that he knows everything. Now, I know that I did my interview with Malcolm, MJ Harris, and I know that he said you shouldn't try to persuade people to choose one type of insurance over another. But like I said with him, I'm just being honest. I don't see why anybody would choose to spend money every month for 20 or 30 years on a term life policy that brings you nothing. If you don't die for the term of your policy, whether that be 20 or 30 years, all that money is gone. So if you had been living right and taking care of yourself along with your age, when the time that term life policy expires, you may not be able to even get another policy of term life because you got bad health. So you just spent 20 to 30 years paying a bill that you have nothing to show for it. Yeah. I guess that's why some people try to kill the person they got insurance on. Because they like, that policy gonna end soon and she ain't dying no time soon. Y'all know I'm just joking. But hey, we know it could happen. But either way, that's just my personal opinion. I don't see why anybody would purchase a term life policy. Yeah. Don't understand that. But you do what's best to you. I know some people choose to do a term life for the sole reason it's cheaper. But not all situations is it cheaper. It depends on who you are, what your health is, what your age is. So you assuming that you can afford whole life when you probably can. it will probably be $10 to $30 more than what you're paying on a term life. You telling me you can't sacrifice that to have a better insurance plan that you can tap into the cash value to get loans off of? Is your money. It's guaranteed interest on whole life insurance. Yeah, you can do the traditional whole life insurance and your cash value won't generate until the probably the third year of you paying a premium. That's because the first 2 or 3 years that money's going to the insurance company and the insurance agent. So the other whole life insurance policy, the one I mentioned that has the PUA in place, the paid up edition, you can activate your cash value sooner within the first year. And once you pay that amount, pay it up, you can get that money, whatever your value is, within 30 days of asking for it. It doesn't go on your credit. Nobody knows about it but you and your insurance company. So the more you pay into your policy on that type of PUA policy, the more cash value you build up. And at some point, it usually takes 4 or 5 years. At that point, your cash value is going to be more than what your policy is. It's a win-win situation, people. I don't know, those of you all that are still hesitant and learning about that, and yeah. Okay. Did I miss something? Oh, uh, so now that you have mastered the discipline to reach these financial goals of your emergency funds, it's time to save. Like I said, if you can stay strong and focus past that first year of emergency fund savings, make a goal for the 2 years, and then after the 2 years, anything extra, allocate that to somewhere else that's going to generate more cash flow, which is some type of investment that's going to bring you more money or additional money than what you put into it. And I'm calling the 2 year living, the 2 year emergency fund, I'm calling it the pandemic goal, because we have been in a pandemic for 2.5 years so far. So if this were to happen again, you actually may need 2 years to survive if we have another breakout, which I really believe is going to be coming, because we got too many people that are not using common sense. I'm not going to say the word I want to say, but I'm going to stick with common sense. So to save 3 months is usually if something happens, like if you lose a job and you need to use that time to find another job, or 3 months is usually the time frame for you to be able to find income replacement. 6 months, 6 months can be used as a breather to make those more extenuating circumstances in a career change, or even choosing to start a business. Like if you want to quit your job or lose your job doing whatever situation, a layoff, whatever the case may be. You may not want to jump right into another job or career position working for someone else. You may utilize that 6 month savings that you have generated to transition. And that's usually to start a business. So you have 6 months to do that. 1 year, that's covering, an extended emergency, or again, even giving you more time um, for a change in a plan of action. So yeah, set your goals in place. And once you reach each goal, you're going to feel so different. Your dreams are even going to change because your dreams are based on your subconscious. So if you dream about bills and wake up sweating, or you dream that you done had a car accident and your car is totaled, but you ain't got no money to replace the vehicle, you probably won't even have that dream no more, because your subconscious is gonna know you got a backup plan if something happened. It makes you sleep better when your finances are in order. I have seen that change, because I used to dream about stuff that I had no control over. What I did, and that's why I made the change. But I would have dreams and wake up, because like most women, we worry about stuff. Being a parent, we worry about stuff. So I've actually had less dreams like that. That's because my subconscious know I've been getting my crap together. So yeah, you're gonna sleep better because you're not gonna worry about if something happens, because you have the backup plans in place to be prepared for those unforeseen circumstances. And I promise it just feels so much better. Um, just by following the plan and sticking to it. And but what you can't do is expect immediate results. It takes time to get to where you need to be or where you want to be. So don't keep expecting immediate gratification. It took time for you to mess it up. It's going to take time for you to get it right. So yeah, don't be so quick to be distracted or give up because you don't see what you want to see. But your question should be, what am I not doing to see what I want to see? Because either you're not saving more, either you're not investing more, either you're not budgeting, sticking to your budget, either you're not correcting your bad spending habits. Sit back and question why you not, as opposed to giving yourself the out to stop doing what you're doing because you don't see immediate gratification. Your gratification comes at the end of the plan, not before. Okay. I'm actually gonna finish in an hour, 8 o'clock. So that's good. So I realize when I do my content, if I keep it between 12 and 15 slides, I'm good. I can probably meet the hour deadline. So buying stocks for long-term investing. Beginners must do their own research and analysis to determine what stocks to start out with. Selecting 2 ETFs would be a good start to familiarize yourself with the process and features of the platform that you use. I've already talked about, the real beginning process of starting to buy stocks. I broke down the diversified checklist of the different kinds of stocks that you can start investing in. But one of my favorites are ETFs. I'll quickly explain what ETFs are if you didn't watch the previous video talking about this. If you walk into a grocery store and you want to buy everything, you want to invest in every product that's in the grocery store, from wall to wall, from door to door, that would be considered an index. If you walk down the potato chip aisle that has the potato chips and the popcorn, you want to invest in every company that has a brand of potato chips on that aisle. That's called an ETF, a pool of companies with similar products or services. It doesn't have to be the same, but similar. And within that pool of companies, They choose to establish one particular ticker symbol that will identify the coverage of all. That pool of companies perform at a reasonable or good level. If at some point, let's say if it's 50 companies that has some product on that potato chip aisle, let's say from time to time, 5 of those companies don't perform well, then that ETF, that stock symbol, can choose to increase the percentage that the companies that are performing well increase their percentage so that the companies that are not performing well will have their percentages decreased. And that percentage is the amount that comes to you. So if you got, what I said, 50 companies and 10 are not doing well, so 40 of those companies, and it's usually when you look at the information on each stock, it can give you a breakdown of the companies that are on that that are within that stock. Let's say Amazon is one of them, and Amazon, before they did the analysis to say that 10 of those companies are not performing well, so before they did the analysis, Amazon, their percentage of the pool was like 12%. Of those 10 companies that are not performing as good as they should, they may increase the top 10 companies, with Amazon being one of those, or top 20 companies, they may increase each of those percentages by 1 more percent, taking away of the percentages that those 10 companies that are not doing as well, taking away from those percentages and placing them on the other companies that are performing well. So you have more better, you have a better chance of a higher return on investment. The profits you make from when you buy the stocks, you're going to get more of a profit because more percentage has been put on the companies that are performing better. So you have less risk in an ETF as opposed to if you were to buy a single stock company. Let's use Amazon again. If you buy Amazon just as, on its own, not an ETF, is on its own, you take on a higher risk by investing in one company. Now, although Amazon is good, I don't think you would really lose anything with Amazon. I'm just using it as an example. So, but my favorite is ETFs because there's less loss in an ETF stock than others. Also, indexes. Indexes are good as well, but you would buy those on a different platform. Indexes I could get on Vanguard, and you can get on Fidelity and the other major brokerage firms. So yeah, but I gave that complete breakdown on another video. You can go back and look at that. Don't overwhelm yourself until you have gained more information of the market for long-term investing. Meaning, don't try to buy a whole bunch of stocks and you still in the learning process. Remember, I mentioned on the previous videos about buying for the first time. Start out with 2. And even though you start out with 2, you're still going to keep doing your research before you make the decision to buy any more stocks. Right now, I have 15 stocks on Robinhood. It's a diverse portfolio. So it's not all ETFs. I have different things, but that was broken down before also. I'm not going to go over that right now because I want to keep this at 8 o'clock. I don't want to stay here too long. Once you have grown in knowledge and understanding, expand your investment gradually from one more at a time. You start with 2, get a little confident, get a little more information, then buy you a 3rd one. Keep doing what you're doing. Buy a 4th one, buy a 5th one. If you really feel good about your choices so far, and you, while you're doing your research and following others, social media platforms that really expand on, investing, and some of them give good suggestions. They have the same disclaimer like I do. Not financial advisors. They're just sharing what they do. So you can choose to do the same, but you still need to do your own research before you just do it. Don't just take someone's word and just run with it and you haven't done your own research. So, and that's what I did. When I started, I bought a couple, then I bought 5, then I bought 10, and I'm comfortable with where I'm at. Well, actually, I had 15. I actually got rid of 2 of them. So I have 13 now. And actually, those 2 were 2 that were given free by Robinhood. And I was dollar cost averaging, which is once I buy the initial stock that I want to buy, the number of shares, I set up automatic deposits every week or every 2 weeks that goes directly into the stock so that I could set it up and forget about it and then just see how that grows. So what I got rid of was 2 of the free stocks that Robinhood gave me for referrals. And I didn't see them performing well. At first they were, but recently they haven't. And based on the numbers, as far as year to date, I decided to go ahead and just sell what I had. Now, like I said, they were free stock, but I did pay into it after a while when I saw that it was doing good. So right now I have 13. You're expanding. When you expand your portfolio, again, it's very important to make sure it's diverse. Don't have, 10 ETFs. I mean, you can, but you want to spread around your ability to grow, and having a diverse portfolio doesn't keep you in one egg basket or one type of egg basket. So yeah, cost averaging set on automatic deposits. It is crucial to grow your investments. I had a family member contact me last week or a couple of weeks ago, and they was like, they were told to start buying stocks, and they bought some stocks on Robinhood a year ago, and she was telling me the numbers where they are now, and I was like, okay, how much you been investing in it since you started buying the stocks? And she said nothing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you done made a little profit off of what you're doing, but you done missed out on a whole lot by not continuously investing into the stock. So yeah. So that's gonna be a couple of my next videos. I'm gonna, well, it's not gonna be live because I need to be able to share my phone screen. So I'm gonna have to do it on Zoom and save everything and then post it on Facebook and YouTube later, so that I can actually walk you through the process on Robinhood and Vanguard. I'm not going to show any other brokerage platform because I'm not using those, not right now. Those are 2 that I'm using at the moment. All right, once you start investing, and I hope it doesn't take long for you to get over the fear of investing. So the initial fear is to get started somewhere. Start small. Don't allow what you are unfamiliar with to stop you in your process or to hold you back from getting started. That's always the initial issue when there's fear, the fear of the unknown. You got to step over that line. And once you do, the first thing you're going to think is, why in the hell didn't I just do this a long time ago? Because it ain't nothing to be fearful of. It's nothing to be fearful of. So, yeah, I hope that fear doesn't last long or prevents you from getting started. So you need to keep good records. And I'm still working on my long-term investment log book. I was going to try to have a physical book, but I decided to make it digital instead. It's more cost effective. So I'm finalizing that, and it should be for sale soon. I will let you know when it is, but you have to keep track of your investments. And I'll just give you a few bullets on what you should be keeping track of, but it's not the whole list. Trust me, it's not. As I have gone through this process, I have learned how to really make an awesome journal to keep track of your investments. I bought a couple on Amazon. I bought one on Amazon. I don't know if y'all can see this. I bought this one on Amazon just to see what was on the inside, and it's boo boo. I'm like, this this is a waste of paper. And I bought one inside the store, like it's where did I go? Office Depot, and still it was boo boo. I'm like, it's missing half the information that you need to be keeping track of, and it's more so targeting short term investing. Again, I'm not into short term investing. Like it's gonna you have your type of trades, stocks, options, futures, and other. Them options and futures and pools and stops and puts. I'm not, no. I'm into long-term investment. Investing, watching it grow, waiting till a year and a day to decide on how and how much of my profits I want to take out and repeat the same cycle over and over again. That's You get more of a return on investment with long-term investing than you do short-term. And short-term investing is more volatile, meaning there is a much higher risk with short-term investing. I'm not interested in it. If you want to do it, you go right ahead. Just make sure you learn everything you need to learn so that you can master the process. And kudos to you. But no, I choose in taking less risk. So just to run down just some of the bullet points that you need to have. You need to have the date that you purchase the stock. You need to have a year and a day date. Remember I told you to wait a year and a day before you take out the profits you made on your investments. And when you take it out, you choose what you want to do to it, whether you want to reinvest to the same stock or you want to purchase another stock that you've been looking at, you're interested in. It may cost a little more, like an index, but not all indexes cost a lot. So don't think that either. You can afford indexes as well. There are indexes that can be low priced, just the way regular stocks are low. Some of those are low priced. So, but the year and the date is key for you to keep track of. That determines when you can make the decision on what you want to do with the profits on what you have invested in. Because when you wait a year and a day, you're going to pay less in capital gains tax. When you take out money before a year, you're going to pay higher capital gains tax in your profits, not the investment amount, but your profits. You pay taxes on the profits. Okay. You need to keep track of the type of the stock. Remember, that can be ETF, index fund, or a single. It's a whole list. I'm not going to run through it. I already did on a previous video. The company name or the stock name, the ticker symbol, which can also be called a tick. If you hear it on social media, that's what they're referring to, the ticker symbol, which identifies the stock itself. The current value, how much was it per share at the time when you first started the investment? And the reason you write that down is to keep track, so that as you look at your portfolio on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, you can see how much that has grown or how much it has decreased. Okay? Promise you, if you don't write this stuff down, you're going to be lost at understanding the progress of your portfolio. Okay? Writing down the number of shares that you bought initially and how much dollar cost average did you put in on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. Okay? You're going to track when you first buy, you need to identify the 52-week low and the 52-week high. That shows you what was the lowest point it started at and what is the highest point it has grown to for the cost of shares. Okay? And I had mentioned before, if you're getting involved in the stock market and you're keeping track of the data of your stock investments, please don't get discouraged when it goes down. If there's nothing that should make you fearful of the investment in the company, because the market fluctuates. So sometimes what you invest in will go down. That's just due to, sometimes mediocre stuff is just the people that are buying the same stock that you are is based on their emotions, so they can affect the market. So that's why you, again, got to do your research and stay abreast of what the companies that you invest in. So sometimes when it's low, let's say the 52-week low was $8. The 52-week high was $22. If you first bought at $8, awesome. That means you made profits for when it grew to, what did I say, $22, $20, whatever I said. Let's say during 1 month or 1/4 of the year, it goes down to $15 and you get scared. Don't get scared. That's the time for you to actually buy more at the 15, since it went down from the 20 or 22. So yeah, when you learn the market, it helps you make better decisions and it helps you make non-emotional decisions. Okay? But again, that's to be discussed even further on another video. Keep track of if it's a company that offers dividends, your dividend yield, which is a good thing. And I can't show on my phone right now, but I get notifications by email that I have received dividends put into my account. Now, I chose to set my dividends to reinvest back in the same stock. Before, I had those dividends coming to my checking account. But I was like, it's no point in me doing that. I need to put it back in the same tool that's going to generate compound interest. Yeah, it was good to see the dividends going into my account, but I was like, why not just reinvest it and accrue more compound interest? So yeah. Dollar cost averaging. Again, for all my accounts on Robinhood, I set up for the accounts that I pay more in, that I invest more in, I have those set up every 2 weeks for automatic deposits. For the ones that I invest the same amount on all of them, that's lesser than the other ones, I set those up for every week. So actually, it's about $100 a week of investments that come out. It's about $400 to $500 of investments every month. So I'm putting in $400 to $500 a month to invest in my stock choices. So yeah, And you don't have to do what I do. You do what's best for you and your situation and your financial ability. The point is, I just want y'all to get started. Don't be scared to just get started. That's it. And it's so much more that you need to keep track of in your portfolio. But I'm not going to go over all that now. You'll be able to see that when I announce the logbook for sale. So from the last video, which was a couple of weeks ago, I have a question from the last video. Did you start the process of putting together your list of interested stocks? Remember, I had told you that to start out with your list of interested stocks, you're first going to think about where you spend your money now, where you spend your money on an everyday basis. If those companies that you spend your money in on an everyday basis to take care of your household, take care of other personal things, but it's a continuous basis, why not invest in those companies? Add those companies to your list and do your research on them. One of the companies I invest in is Kroger. I'm at Kroger's probably once a week. So as much money I done gave Kroger, yeah, I'm gonna buy some stock in Kroger. I'm going to be a owner in Kroger. Well, I am an owner in Kroger. Kroger. Is it Kroger or Kroger's? It's Kroger. The S is not on it, but you know, we're a little special. We put the S on a lot of stuff. If you, and I even mentioned before, if you drink alcohol, I don't drink alcohol, but I'm just saying, I know some people that drink a lot of alcohol and they drink specific brands. They go to the club and they hollering what brands they buy. Are you investing in the company that owns that? They getting hundreds of dollars out of you every time you go out or every time you go get your supply before Sunday for your house. Why not invest in those companies? You like buying name brand stuff, Coach and Louis Vuitton. Do you have stock in Coach and Louis Vuitton? As much money as y'all pay for these purses? Girl, please. Y'all better invest in these companies. Yes, do your research. Make money off of the companies you done gave money to for years. And the money that you done spent ain't brought you no value. So take that back and make money from the companies that you done spent frivolous money on. Yeah. So after you put your list together, did you narrow down to the top 5? If you didn't narrow down to the top 5, y'all need to get started, because from that top 5, you're going to choose your first 2. And then of that remaining 3, that's what you're going to gradually bring in after you've done your continuous research and your analysis, you know, based on, like, of the 5, one of those may cost like $113 just to buy one share. You may want to put that at the end of the list of the 5 that you jump into. You understand what I'm saying? Plan it out. You may not be able to afford to do it now, but although on Robinhood and on Vanguard, well, on Robinhood, you can buy partial shares. You don't have to buy the full share to get started. You can do the same on Vanguard, but some of Vanguard investments, you have to be able to buy the full share, one share, to get started. Or on Vanguard, some of the stocks, you have to have a minimum of $3,000 to get started. So yeah, you got to be mindful of that. But that could be your goals. You can have a first goal of just getting started, what you can afford to do now. I don't care if it's $5 a week. That's something better than nothing. It's 8 going on 8:20. God dog it. Okay, I'm almost done. So again, I want you all to get comfortable in just getting started. Even if it's not 2, get started with 1. You do what's best for you. But if you don't get started, You're still going to be at the back of the line trying to figure out what's going on and miss out on your potential of return on investments. Again, I don't care if it's $5 a week. That's something better than nothing. One day you're going to be able to start doing $10 a week, $20 a week, 25, 30, because you're going to get more and more confident because you're going to keep doing your research. You're going to keep following the market. You're going to see the results by just getting started. And you will do better. So again, don't look for immediate gratification. You will see positive results when you just stick to the plan and make the commitment. So this is the end of the road, and I did not keep my word on ending by 8 o'clock because of the extra talking that I did. So for those of you that stayed with me, thank you. As always, please click like and click share. This helps share the platform and spread the knowledge to more of us that need it. So once again, I hope that you found some value in the content shared today. So until next time, please take care of yourselves and know that knowledge is the real power when you apply it. Again, please click like, please, please. Good night, y'all.